All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to say it is 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. I am Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter. We've got people hanging out already. Fantastic. All right. Whoops. I've got to get one thing adjusted. Now I can say hello to Darlene's in the house, Pacola T's in the house, PBB Bang, and Rick also in the house. Let's see here who else we got. We got Rick subscribing for over 2 years, 27 months. All right, Rick, super stoked. All right, thank you for that resub. And yep, okay, we got Darlene, we got PBB Bang, we got Pacola T, and I'm hoping that we have got some YouTube side people as well, which they will eventually show face if they are here. But Gina also in the house on the Twitch side. And PPP Bang, you missed a few streams, but you made sure to be here today. That is awesome because I have a little bit of a topic that you may or may not be able to point and laugh at. Now, I know that you are not in Siberia. You're very far from Siberia, in fact. But you are close to Russia, and, well, we'll see. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about random stuff because we are going to chatter and scatter all over the place today. If I have anything to say about it, and when you guys have something to say about it, we scatter even more. So, Cola Tea in the house talking about soup and a sandwich kind of day. That sounds delicious. Instead, I have leftover shepherd's pie. No, cottage pie. We can talk about the difference between shepherd's pie and cottage pie if you want. But first, before we do that, you know what we're going to do. We're going to get the party started. Oh, that's so cute, Pacola T. I just read what you said. It's misty and 75 degrees here today. Soup and sandwich kind of weather. Yeah, stay cozy. 75. So chilly. So chilly in Hawaii. You gotta have soup and sandwich on a 75-degree day. All right, well, we won't talk about the 40-degree day here and how it is definitely a soup and a sandwich kind of day. Yeah, exactly, BBB Bang. 14 degrees Fahrenheit over there in Finland. Yeah, exactly. No soup or sandwich for you, though. Why don't you just go get a cold salad? And I know, Pacola T, folks around your area bust out the hoodies in that weather. Absolutely understandable. And, you know, as much as I like to make fun of Hawaii folk who are like, oh, I'm so chilly. Seriously, I turn the heat on in my house at the drop of a hat. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of houses in Hawaii, they don't have heat. They don't need heat, usually. So, when it gets to be like 50 degrees, 60 degrees, I know 75 degrees isn't 50 or 60 degrees, but it does get to be 50 or 60 in Hawaii. And when it gets to be that cold, it's actually cold, dude. Like, you know, in the house and everything. Now, as far as the 75-degree people wearing their long sleeves and hoodies, yeah, you get used to the weather. In fact, I think it was just last night I was messaging with James Mane, who, for those of you who don't know, James Mane is a Samoan comedian who lives in Hawaii. But when he was in college, he went to college up in Buffalo, New York, and we were talking about how funny it is how once you get used to the super, super cold, suddenly 30 degrees, which 30 degrees, you know, is admittedly cold. I mean, it is freezing, literally. Once you hit 30 degrees, though, after you've been in like teen weather, like PPP Bang is in, for a couple weeks, and then it suddenly gets warm and it gets to be 30 degrees out, you don't even need your coat anymore because your body is so acclimated. So it makes sense that the reverse would be true too. And let's see here. Hey, Poppy Shaney, so good to see you coming in from California. I was, just so you know, I was being bad. I was making fun of Pacola T and her 75 degrees of coldness. It's so cute. And but I do think we can all agree Buffalo, well, okay, PPB Bang can definitely just be like, I don't really know if I'm going to agree to this, and that's fine. But everybody else in the United States at least can agree Buffalo, New York gets cold, okay? It really does get legit cold. And Rick bragging about the Wisconsin, no snow there, but might hit 50 tomorrow, and you like it. And yes, Darlene, you did go to the Flower Domes today to see the holiday display, the Desert Dome, and the Tropical Dome. In fact, it was just before the stream started that I noticed that Darlene had sent me a ton of stuff. So, next stream is going to be a Statterbox of the Cinema, and we need to talk about that. But on Sunday, I will be showing a lot of what Darlene sent to me because I didn't even get a chance to look through the pictures, but all right, let me rephrase that. I scrolled through the pictures super fast, and I was able to just be like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So once we have some time, we will just be super jealous of the tropical and desert domes, not dorms, that Rick and Darlene got to visit today, or yesterday, or whenever it was. Today! There we go. And, oh, Poppy Shaney, you have to put on a doggy jacket on Cooper for his morning walks. Oh. You guys, I wish I had a picture of the cutest dog ever. Poppy Shaney happens to live with the cutest dog ever, and his name is Cooper. And I can only assume that he has the cutest fur coat that he just... And he knows that he's stylish. Because he's stylish even without his coat. He's just so stylish. Oh, that's just going to be the cutest thing, I'm sure. Let's see here. Oh, Gina, you got some snow in your area. Well, then, that's kind of not the norm for you, if I remember correctly. And Darlene coming in. Yes, Cooper is a cutie. And so, like I said, you guys, if I had the picture, I'd show you guys Cooper because he's just so flippin' cute. And so, let's see here. Gina went AWOL on Sunday, needed a break. No worries. Today you rehearsed with a friend on Zoom for a thing we're doing in the next 3-chord Thursday next Thursday. Oh, awesome. Excelente. Good for you. And PPB Bang coming in. Yeah, even 5 degrees to 25 degrees is absolute massive difference. In 25, you won't need a jacket after 5. Abso-flippin-lutely. Yeah, it is so weird how bodies acclimate to the heat and the cold, as it were. And PPB Bang, your little Jack Russell needs a doggy jacket too, but your German Shepherd could sleep in the snow with the biggest smile on his face. I have no doubt in my mind that is the case. I have actually heard of, seen on the internet, husky dogs will literally jump into the ice bin on hot summer days because they are just, they're not meant for 80-degree weather. They're meant for negative 80-degree weather. The huskies, the German Shepherds, all of those Bernese mountain dogs, the Pyrenees, guard dogs, all of those dogs are meant for hardcore outdoor weather. And yeah, 75 degrees is enough to make them go, give me some ice. And, let's see here. And all right, Poppy Shaney asking Pacola T if she's traveling. And of course, the answer is yes. Going to Vegas for the holidays. Let's see here. And, okay, Gina, a little bit of snow is normal for your parts. But Wisconsin and Buffalo, yeah, are, way more heavier. So, Okay, you guys, we have got a couple different things to talk about. So, first thing I guess we're going to talk about is next week at Statterbox at the cinema. What is it that y'all would like to watch? We can go with a holiday themed movie, which would either be Elf or Bill Murray's Scrooged or Daddy's Home 2. Now, hold on. Oh no, my background just fell down. Hold on. No, don't fall. No, don't fall. Okay. We're gonna step away from the background. Okay, so we've got Elf, Daddy's Home 2, or Scrooged. Or we can just forego the holiday theme, and in which case we've got much more choices. I've got this one cute movie called Yes, God, Yes, which definitely is not a Christmas movie, but it's still cute. And let's see here. I've got Fried Green Tomatoes. We've got Bohemian Rhapsody. We've got Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? We've got Slumdog Millionaire. We've got The Help. We've got Legally Blonde. So we've got a bunch of different stuff. So Rick, you'll miss the 23rd movie, so no matters here. Well, on the 23rd, I think it's the 23rd. Hold on, let me see what day a day is. Yeah. Okay, the 23rd, that one's already been, the 23rd has already been decided. That one is The Ref. The Ref is going to be played on the 23rd. So there you go. So Darlene says Bohemian Rhapsody, which honestly, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, just because it's the holiday season doesn't mean we have to abide by the holiday season, right? That's not, rules, we make our own here. And let's see here. Gina, yes, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is a remake of Homer's Odyssey. Beautiful, beautiful retelling of it, actually. One of my favorite, I really enjoyed John Goodman as the Cyclops. It's a really good movie. I dated a guy once though who had some sons, and his 6-year-old son, his favorite movie was Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? What? I mean, it's a good movie, but as a 6-year-old, I'm not so sure it would have been my pick for my favorite movie at 6. And let's see here, PPV Bang, you watched Gulliver's Travels and Idiocracy yesterday. They were both pretty great. We just recently watched Gulliver's Travels, so that's not going to be an option. I don't have Idiocracy, and quite honestly, as good of a movie as Idiocracy is, because it is, it's actually really a painful movie to watch. And if anybody who's ever seen the movie, you know why it's a painful movie to watch. Because what once, 10, 15 years ago when this movie came out, was a joke, it was satire, it was a dumb, funny movie. Well, now it's almost like a flippin' documentary. It's almost painful. I mean, it's funny, but it's almost painful. I mean, it's... Yeah. I will say, though, I do enjoy Terry Crews. Terry Crews is one of my favorite actors ever, and so he is a funny guy in that movie. Dax Shepard, I think, is in that movie. I don't remember who else is in that movie. But yeah, basically a mediocre guy, a totally mediocre guy who is not smart at all. I mean, just average Joe for the day. Wakes up 500 years later and, yeah. It's on it. It was a much funnier movie when it came out. Now it's just like, oh God, that's just on the verge of true. So, you know, I mean, it's a very good movie. In fact, who is it? Idiocracy. Isn't that a Mike Judge movie? Isn't that the same guy who did Office Space? I feel like it's the same guy who did Office Space, which, by the way, we have not seen Office Space. And Office Space is a very funny movie. We're going to have to watch that. I'm making note right here. I think it's a Mike Judge. Yeah, Mike Judge, yes. And Luke Wilson is the main character. That's it. Yeah. And Dax Shepard, I think, is like sort of his main cohort that he runs into. Yeah, it's a cute movie. I mean, I'm actually not trying to disparage it. It's a cultural reference point. We probably should watch. All right, you guys, I'm writing it down. We probably should watch Idiocracy because it is actually at this point a cultural reference point. It's been seen. We'll talk about it when we see it. But let's going back to what we're gonna watch. It looks like we've got another vote for Bohemian Rhapsody. Poppy Shaney suggests that A Little Queen is good any time of the year. Darlene says Bohemian Rhapsody. So unless someone comes out of the shadows and says, we are going to watch something else, then we're gonna watch Bohemian Rhapsody. Wow, that was really difficult. So I think this coming Saturday we're gonna watch the Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Pecola Tea. Anyone know what happened to the series Last Man on Earth? Another example of a series that was really funny until it wasn't. Yeah, it was canceled. And by the way, Last Man on Earth was okay. So last week on Saturday Box at the Cinema, we watched Bill and Ted Face the Music. The actress who played Rufus's daughter, who was coming back from the future to help Bill and Ted, she was actually in the TV show Last Man on Earth as well. And Last Man on Earth, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, I want to say it was Will Arnett from Saturday Night Live. He got a TV show where it was really a funny TV show. It was a funny and not funny TV show. Anyway, the entire world basically died off due to a virus, and there was a couple people, like, you know, one person in this city in Ohio, and one person in this city in New Mexico, and one person in this city in that were immune to the virus. And so slowly but surely, Will Arnett thinks he's the last man on, literally he thinks he's the last man on Earth. And then one by one, the survivors start to find each other. And the first person that he finds actually is the actress who played Rufus's daughter on Bill and Ted Face the Music. And then they like start gathering together to recreate society, basically. And it's dark, it's funny, it's sort of realistic, because, you know, after a few years, you get to see what happens after a few years. So, like, after a few years, all of the free gas that, you know, you've got, it's a dark comedy. But it's also realistic in the sense that, like, after, you know, a couple years, all that free gas that's just sitting around in generators and at the gas station and whatever, gasoline degrades and turns into jelly after a while. And so then you can no longer use it. And so so it goes through these, like, we were living large with all these generators. Well, now the generators don't work anymore because the gasoline's gone bad. And, we went over here to this beautiful, location, but, on our way of getting there, we noticed that nuclear power plant that has been unmanned for the last 5 years is now melting down because of, it's just been running on its own and something bad happened. And so now there's a nuclear power plant over there that is spewing toxic gas. And so we need to get out of the downwind and blah, blah, blah. It's a lot. It's funny, but it's also, touches on some very real things. And, of course, it managed to, I think it got canceled literally right before 2020. And I think if y'all remember, what 2020 brought us, the actors in that show, The Last Man on Earth, actually did, they were apologizing. They're like, look, we didn't mean to be fortune tellers. We didn't mean to, predict the end of the world. And it really is ironic now, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it got canceled right before the pandemic hit. But basically, yes, it was so when reality hits the fan. Absolutely. And PB Bang, that's the first time you hear about an apocalypse show where the gasoline actually goes bad. Yeah, and so like they had this one guy, and here's the deal. All right, so they have this one guy that's super smart who clued them into what's going on. It's like, oh, I thought this would happen, blah, blah, blah. And so, and so he's super smart and he's trying to like, build solar stuff or whatever. And then of course, the super smart guy is like the first one to get killed off. And so then it's the dumb people who are just like, oh no. And hey, Jess Scuzzy, good to see you. Right now we are talking about movies and TV shows that hit a little too close for comedy comfort to be funny anymore. Idiocracy being one of them. But then the television show Last Man on Earth really hit the guy on the head. And yes, Rick, was that the one guy named MacGyver? No, MacGruber, actually. But yes, it's that guy. The guy who played MacGruber was the guy who played, I think his name's Will Arnett, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, he was the SNL guy who then was the main character in Last Man on Earth. And so, but yeah, basically, PPP Bang, it was sort of like Idiocracy, just in a very different way, but a really, really good show. In fact, there's one show that to me is a standalone episode where it goes back in time. Okay, so let's see here. So the traveling band of people end up at this one particular abandoned, amazing house in like Mexico or something, like just this castle basically. And the castle used to be owned by a drug cartel. And so there's a standalone episode where it goes back to the drug cartel's days in that house. And, oh my God, it is such a good episode. And it's a standalone episode, but at the same time, it's got tendrils, which then do have, very real consequences for the people later on down the road. But yeah, if you do have a chance, if you're bored and you want to kill some, binge watch or whatever, I think Last Man on Earth was 2 seasons, maybe 3. Not more than 3, I can tell you that much. So Last Man on Earth, it's pretty funny if you're in the mood for that kind of funny. And yes, Just Scuzzy, Simpsons has an amazing track record for prediction as well. I'm old enough to remember when the episode where Lisa Simpson became president first aired. And the joke... Oh, PB Bang was 4 seasons. Really? Okay, awesome. Okay, you guys, 4 seasons, much longer of a binge than I anticipated. But seriously, if you do have a chance to watch it, it's it'll get you ready for the end of the world. Let me tell you, it'll make you start thinking about things. It's like, I hadn't really thought about the nuclear power plants like being unmanned for years and then suddenly all of them imploding at the same time or whatever. So yeah, very good movie, TV show, excuse me. But to go back to The Simpsons, I remember when that episode where Lisa was the president, and her comment on the phone about, I know President Trump, blah 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 blah. When making reference to President Trump, that was the funniest joke in the world. I mean, that could never happen. Trump as the president, that was funny. Because that would never happen. Ever. Yeah. Just Scuzzy, let's see here. Have I seen Don't Look Up? No, I haven't. And yes, and Bart asked Lisa to legalize it. Which still hasn't happened yet. But, the feds are actually, I think there's someone in the House of Representatives, I want to say from Ohio, but boy, I could be making that up, who actually has introduced a bill to legalize it on a federal level. So, it is happening slowly but surely. I mean, states have already legalized it, right? But the federal issue is still a sticky flippin' wicket. And yeah, it will happen one day, for certain, Just Scuzzy. I mean, there's already moved toward it. And I remember when I was a kid, the idea that cannabis would be legalized was so far from my reality. I grew up in the 80s during the Just Say No and the Dare, and This Is Your Brain on Drugs. And they had rock and roll stars doing anti-drug messages. I mean, please. We all knew that they were doing, weed, booze, and cocaine right before they flippin' went on the camera to tell us not to do weed, booze, or cocaine. But, it was just one big hypocrisy, one big secret hypocrisy, and the idea that it would ever come out of the shadows, I didn't ever think it would. And so, PPP Bang, yeah, over its illegality, yeah, it, yes, that happens. Not only does it happen, when it's illegal, it also happens when it's like kind of legal. Cause when you're somewhere like Seattle where it's very legal, legal to the point where they're not even enforcing the laws they should be enforcing around it, i.e. you're not supposed to consume cannabis, smoke cannabis, vaporize cannabis, any kind of obvious consumption. You're not allowed to do that in public. You can smoke it in your own home. You can smoke it on private property, but in public, well, certain private properties, you're not allowed to smoke it in any kind of established business or anything like that. But to smoke it on the street, in the park, in the parking lot, blah, 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 not legal at all. Technically, not legal at all. Now in Seattle, they don't care. They will let you do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do it. Well, that's not true. You can't smoke weed in the bar. If you can't smoke a cigarette there, you can't smoke weed there. But any place you might smoke a cigarette, you will find people smoking weed in the Seattle area. Now, if you go across the state to Eastern Washington, where they're much more conservative, they will they will enforce the law as it's written, and they will get you. They will give you a ticket, $100 ticket, as it turns out, for an open container. It's not really an open container, but it's basically the equivalent of drinking a beer in public when you're not supposed to. Yeah. So, and let's see here. Another funny TV series was You, Me, and the Apocalypse. I don't think I ever heard that. It was a British-American dark humor. I don't think I ever heard that. And oh my God, you had to take drug tests constantly for 9 months to get your driver's license back? and it's shown in your register for 5 years, and doctors won't prescribe you the drugs you would need as easily or at all? Wow, Finland is not in a happy place in regards to cannabis. See, I don't know if I would do very well. I would not do very well there at all. Yeah, that's a problem, dude. That's a problem, dude. That's a problem, dude. And Rick, the only way it gets legal in Wisconsin is by the feds making it legal. Our state motto is forward. Yeah, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back is what it is. It sounds like. But seriously though, they kind of need to get the feds on board just for banking issues in legal states, because it is technically illegal in a federal sense. Banks won't work with cannabis dispensaries, so it's a cash only business. They aren't allowed to take credit cards. They aren't allowed to take debit cards. They're not. It's literally a cash only business that nobody will touch them economically. And so when it's a cash only business, suddenly that opens the door to a lot of potential issues. First off, it opens the door to, and this we have seen, an incredible risk for theft at the dispensaries because there's nothing but cash on hand. And 2, when it's a cash only business, that leaves a lot of room for potential bookmaking, as it were, falsifying of books, so to speak. Now, I am not suggesting that the cannabis industry is doing that. In fact, I dare say, at least the shops that I go to, make it very, very above the board. They take down a lot of documentation. They can pretty much trace every one of their sales. But I've been to other stores that it's like, wow, you guys are really lackadaisical here. And so there's a lot of room for tax evasion, for this, for that, and the other. Exactly, Colty. All cash businesses, like the casinos. Yeah, and so, Darlene, got it. Couldn't they accept a card or two? What's the reason for cash only? In order to accept a debit card, you have to be working with a bank. And there's no banks, because banks are federally insured, and our banks are governed by federal regulations. Banks, right now, the legal cannabis retailers in states where it's legalized, where they're working is kind of a gray area, a legally gray area that, as far as the state is concerned, is no longer gray. The state has made it legal, but the feds, it's not. So the banks are like, what are we supposed to do? And so the banks are erring on the side of caution and not entering that economic market because their federal regulations, federal insurances, federal guidelines, they don't want to break any of that law. So, but if the feds do legalize it, then suddenly there will be a huge bank rush to start to service that market. In fact, it'll be like the Wild West. In fact, like, I can't even imagine the weed credit cards, the weed gift cards, the blah, blah, blah. There will be a huge, once the feds legalize it, there will be a huge structural change within that industry, being able to accept, the credit cards, et cetera, et cetera. So really, we can all, we can all hope, but literally for now, the closest the cannabis stores in my area can get to taking a credit card or a debit card is the cash machines that they have. These are privately installed cash machines. And And then you're in the dispensary, you go, you pay $2, to get cash out of that machine. And now, now you've got cash in hand. So now you can go to the counter and say, I want, a 6-pack of this and give me a pack of that. In fact, serious, you guys. You know what this is? You know what that is? Boop. A pack of 10. Seriously, just like a cigarette pack. This is what legalization looks like right here. And Michael Anthony Smith, good to see you. We are talking about cannabis legalization at this point. We were talking about the end of the world, but now we're talking about something a little bit more fun. Cannabis. And let's see here. Gina, this is where the federal government making that industry illegal is making things harder for itself by not keeping up with benefits that some states already know. Absolutely. And Rick, haha, well then, the cannabis industry shouldn't have to pay federal income taxes, right? No. And I'll tell you why. Federal income tax code actually doesn't care how you make your money. You can be a hitman for all the IRS cares. They don't care. You're a hitman. You've killed 10 people this year. 10 people at $10,000 a pop. 10 of them, you got $100,000. You need to claim that $100,000. By the way, that garage sale that you had when you were the hitman and you were deciding to move from one place to another and you had a garage sale, so you sold a bunch of your books and your old bed and you got maybe $1,000 out of that too. All right, so you got $1,000 from your garage sale, plus you got $10,000 for being a hitman. You actually need to report $100,000 as your hitman income and the $1,000 garage sale income. They don't care if it's legal or not. Now, when you are declaring illegal income, there's a different set of tax code and laws that apply to you, and you aren't necessarily allowed to deduct certain expenses. For instance, if you were a hitman, actually, this is a perfect example. If you were a hitman and you made $100,000 and you legally declared your $100,000 on your IRS thing as a hitman. Now, if you said you were a massage therapist, suddenly that would be laundering money, and that is completely illegal. It's a different charge. But you file your taxes as a hitman because that is your industry, and you tell the IRS, I made $100,000 as a hitman. Are you going to have to pay taxes on that $100,000? No, you will be able to deduct your cost of goods sold. Well, what does that mean? I'm a hitman. Well, what it means is you can deduct the cost of your bullets, and your gun. But all of your travel expenses that you had in order to get to so-and-so's place and to hunker down and to wait for them and watch them, and all the meals that you took when you were traveling to go track them down to kill them, you cannot deduct that. That is not part of your cost of goods sold. That's just part of your material, supplies, and expenses, and that is not deductible under the illegal tax code. What is deductible is your cost of goods sold. What is your cost of goods sold? Your gun and your bullets. So, if you wanted to claim your income as a serial killer, the IRS, a hitman, I mean, the IRS would be fine with that. They literally would, and they wouldn't report you because they want you to pay your taxes. The IRS actually, the only reason why you get in trouble with the whole tax thing is when you're laundering the money. So when you're trying to make your dirty money look clean. And Rick, don't they want the 1099s from the requester of the hit? No, they don't need to do that. No, they don't need to do that. And, because remember, you're operating outside of the realm of law here. So it's illegal money, And also, actually, Rick, technically speaking, no, they don't, because at $10,000, that could still be considered a gift. And there's a different form that you fill out for the gift. But that would be but that would be assuming you were following the rules. And remember, we're not following the rules here. We're illegal. We're a hitman. But we also don't want the IRS to come knocking on our door going, how did you afford that Corvette? And how did you afford that house? Because you're claiming nothing. And it's like, well, no, I'm not claiming nothing. I told you I'm a hitman. I told you I made $100,000. That's how I made my money. Now, if you had the $100,000 and then you lied and made it look like you had a massage business where you were a traveling masseuse and you explained your income that way, that's illegal. That's money laundering. It's not tax evasion. It's not a tax charge. It's a fraud charge. It's money laundering. So, in order to make your illegal money as legal as possible, you actually, from the IRS's perspective, are better off claiming illegal money. Now, I don't really want you to take any of this advice. Michael Anthony Smith, I'm going to have a bunch of questions for you tomorrow if that's okay. It is okay, baby doll, but let me just make it very clear. I am not suggesting anyone become a hitman. Okay? And Rick, they got to get the requester of the book somehow. Gift taxes? Well, yes and no. Yes. Yes, the gift taxes are something that after a certain amount, you will be responsible to pay that. But that's not the hitman's problem. That's the person who put out the hits, their problem. And if they didn't file that paperwork, once again, that's not the hitman's problem. Yeah. So there you go. And Jessica, did Andy do his Pro Ridge show? I don't think that they've started the Pro Ridge shows yet. I think it's like maybe next week they're starting the Pearl Ridge shows. I've been seeing the Pearl Ridge shows for on my Facebook feed, so it's happening. I don't think it's happened yet though. And let's see here, Picola T, is there a tax exemption for a one-hit wonder? No. Which really is too bad. And so, okay, see, Honda, good to see you. And Rick coming with December 22nd is when that starts. Yeah, so in a week and 1 day. Speaking of week and 2 days, speaking of a week and 1 day, you guys, now I know in the tropics, this really doesn't matter, but PPP bang, I'm looking in your direction. Rick and Darlene, I'm looking in your direction. I'm looking in the mirror here. December 21st is 8 days away. You know what happens on December 22nd? It starts getting lighter again. So we're at the tail end of the dark 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 of the dark. And so, on the 22nd, the sun will be reborn and it'll begin to bring us light again. Like I said, all you tropical people who've got the 12 on and 12 off all year round, you know, or you don't know what it's like for us up here. Michael Anthony Smith, also an up here person. The dark of the dark, yeah. And good, exactly, Darlene. You're not a fan of the dark and gloomy, exactly. I was just thinking the other day, wait, we're almost to the shortest day. Yay! So, so yes, it is the dark of the darkness right now, on the verge of getting better though. And PPP bang, it couldn't come any sooner. Love seeing, for barely 8 hours a day and way less than that with my sleeping schedule. Sometimes you might go 3 days without sunlight. Oh man, I'm telling you, I am, I'm so right there on your page. Although I will say, I did get to see the sunrise today. Not because I was waking up at the sunrise, but I was still up once the sun was rising. My sleep schedule and your sleep schedule are both really on the rocks these days, PPP Bang. Yeah, some days there is no daylight, absolutely. And Michael Anthony Smith, you have to go to sleep because you need to entertain the 3 people who listen to the radio in the middle of the night. Well, Michael Anthony Smith, if I was in your area, I'd be one of the 3 people because let me tell you, I've been up all night for the last couple nights. So it's a thing, y'all. It's a thing. All right, so you guys, we have talked about a lot of random weirdness, and we haven't even touched on anything that I had set up today, which is kind of awesome, but it is getting to be our Lono listening break, so why don't we get there? And because it is the season to believe, we're going to listen to Believe.
Faces when they tell me to turn down in these places, but I know what they want. Play the kind of music then they tell me turn it up. I believe in love, yes I believe it. I believe in love, I believe in you. Yes I believe in love, yeah I believe. Someone who could make you do all sorts of funny things. She goes out to buy brand new cars and diamond rings, but I know what she wants. Play her kind of music, then she tells me turn it up. I believe in love, yes I believe it. I believe in love.
right, there we go. PB Bang, you believe that's maybe the best you've heard so far from Lono. Well, it sounds like you might like a lot of his older stuff. So Lono has about 15, 16, 17, 18 albums out. And and he's basically got what I consider sort of 3 eras. So his first era was his island music, what I call his secular stuff. And this, believe, would be from his first era. He's got 3 or 4 or 5 different, let's see, he's got Radio Kihei, Maui Looks Beautiful for Molokai, Maui Stylin', and the White Album. So he's got 4 albums from like that era. And that's sort of his just random jazz music, beach time sort of music, just random music. Then he's got his old style era, and he's got 9 albums from the old style era. And the old style is mostly his Hawaiian language music. Not all of it's in Hawaiian language, but a lot of it is. It's Hawaiian classics, Hawaiian melodies, old, traditional Hawaiian music, plus some music that he has written both in English language and in Hawaiian language. That's his old style era. And now he's in what I call his Eevee era, where he is working with a band on Molokai, and he's recreating a lot of his older stuff, and he's basically just doing what he wants now. But my point of all these things is he's got the island style era, the old style era, and the Eevee style era. I would, if you ever think about buying an album from LonoMusic.com, PPP Bang, it sounds like you would best like Maui Stylin', Maui Looks Beautiful from Molokai, heavy on Hawaiian style, White Album, or Radio Kihei. Those would be the 5 that I would recognize. Now, 2 songs really clicked with you. That was one of them, and the other one that I remember you saying you really liked was Boto Nui. And Boto Nui is actually in the old style collection. I want to say old style 4 or maybe 5, but don't quote me on that. So, so let's see here. Gina bragging about how you visited New Orleans for close to a week in 2007. Excellent, excellent. And let's see here. Okay, yes, I can. Boto Nui is how you spell that. And just so you know, that is slang for how do we want to put this, you guys? What is Boto Nui slang for? I mean, I know what it's slang for. A gentleman with a very large loaf of bread. Yes, a small gentleman who brings a large loaf to the party would be a Boto Nui. Let's see here. Boto Nui. Boto is a Filipino slang word for... Nui means big and great. Mitchie Mama coming in on the on the YouTube side. Gonads, says Mitchie Mama. There we go. And yeah, Darlene laughing. Good explanation. It's not necessarily the balls. It could be. It's part of it, but it's the whole package, the whole loaf, the whole. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Anyway. So now might be a good time for a bunch of these emotes. Or actually, it could also be a good idea for an eye roll emote. Like, so we've got Nelson being the ha-has, and oh no, your sub ended, so you lost your ha-ha privileges. Well, I was thinking of expanding our Simpsons repertoire. So we have ha-ha, And then the other day someone was like, we need an eye roll emote. And I totally agree. I think we do need an eye roll emote. I've been trying to figure out how to do an eye roll emote. I've got a couple animated slots, and so I was thinking of doing this as the eye roll emote.
Need I say more?
Why won't it play? Oh, whoops. Wait. There we go. So I was thinking that could be the eye roll emote, but I was also noticing, or I found this one, and Rick, oh my God, thank you so much, Rick, for giving PPP Bang his little sub. So now he's got his ha-has. So I do like this eye roll, but I was also thinking to go with the Nelson ha-ha. That this Lisa rolling her eyes, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Lisa rolling her eyes is a good one. It's a clean image, but would we know that she's rolling her eyes when it's that tiny? Then again, I can't decide between this one or this one. This one or this one. Mitchie Mama likes the Lisa one. Yeah, honestly, I kind of like the Lisa one as well. But exactly, Darlene, that look is more of a disgusted look, not an actual eye roll. And PPP Bang, you prefer the Lisa one. See, God, you guys, I agree with everybody. I do like the Lisa one. You know what I might do? Okay, Rick, can I put the rolling eyes on Lisa? Can I? No. Can somebody else? Maybe. I'm stroking my imaginary beard here, and I'm really liking that plan. Okay. All right, we're gonna put this onto the we're gonna put this on the back burner to simmer and to boil, and PPP Bang, you have a friend who's really extremely good at making these. Well, PPP Bang, let me tell you, if you can come up, if you talk to your friend and your friend's just like, oh, here's the perfect combination of whateverness to make an eye roll. If you want to create an eye roll emote for me to use, I will happily steal it from you. And I'm definitely going to be talking to Shock about it as well. In fact, I was on the verge of asking her about it today, but we had other things we were talking about, other tech stuff we were talking about. So that was on the back burner. But yes, and he'll do it with a smile on his face. Excellent. And PPP Bang, obviously, if your friend decides to help us out, they will be an automatic part of our Statterbox crew, even if they never show face, but we will welcome them with open arms if they decide to join us here. On the other hand, if you want to keep us a little secret and have your friends not know all about your secret online life, well, I appreciate that as well. And it looks like, option is a good one. And wait, is John here today? Did I miss John? There's John. Aloha from Florida. So good to see you there, John. All right, we are definitely getting some old school crew lined up here today. So, all right, so John, you may or may not have been here for the quick conversation that we're just ending up now, but for your opinions, if you have one, we're looking for eye roll. Hey, Thomas. Oh, good to see you. All right, well, you guys, now that Thomas is here, now that John is here, I want you guys, and you guys might have already been here for long enough to know, but K-Crew folks, you don't have to necessarily respond, but if you have an opinion, Yes, eye roll. Is this a good eye roll emote? Or is this a good eye roll emote? Or, using these ideas, can we make the eye roll? How can we make an eye roll emote? And, let's see here. Rick, I need to figure out how to get emotes on your channel. You just want this one? Nice. Honestly, Rick, I don't think you need to do much to get emotes on your channel. You might have to... I don't think you need to do anything. I think like everybody gets like 3 emotes maybe or something like that. You just have to go to your settings, and then like your video dashboard, video producer dashboard, and then let me tell you what you have to do. No, I'm not going to tell you what you have to do. You have to go to your video producer dashboard and then like rewards or something like that. And it, I don't know. And John, it would be cool if the Lisa emote was animated. Yes, it would. And that's why somebody was like was saying, can we put the movie eyeballs on the, on the Lisa face? That would probably be the most super ideal. And so we need somebody who's way more fancy pants than I am, because I am not fancy pants. And and let's see here. It looks like we have got Terry coming in with a viewing party of 4. Welcome, Raiders, Terry. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe Pinnell might be with them. Carl in Arkansas might be with them. I'm just guessing, though. But Brada Bruce is with him. Subscribed for 12 months. Good to see you, Brada Bruce. Thank you so much for that sub. We're discussing I roll emotes. I've got 2 of them that I'm considering. Neither of them are perfect. One of them is eye roll, and one of which is animated, and then one of them's just Lisa Simpson being Lisa Simpson. And so if you guys have an opinion which you like better, the eye roll or the Lisa Simpson, then give me a shout and let me know. And of course, if you don't have an opinion, that's fine, because I don't really have an opinion either. I like them both. Pinnell, good to see you. I thought you might be in with the Raiders. And Picola T, oh no, better get the hoodie on. It's 74 degrees in Hawaii. So chilly. So chilly. Okay, you guys. So, let's see here. Okay. So, we've got a couple different things that we could talk about right now. But I think what I'm going to talk about right now is something that is, well, I don't know how true it is. Okay? But, do you remember a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, we talked about mushrooms here on the stream? And I said that these mushrooms are Smurf houses, and they might make you see Smurfs. Well, I was only kind of joking, right? You know, not really, because they are hallucinogenic. But check this out, you guys. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard it on the internet, and I just wanted to share it with all y'all. So here is some facts about the Amanita muscaria mushroom, maybe? Let's find out.
What do magic mushrooms and Santa Claus have in common? A lot more than you think. You know that classic red mushroom with the white dots? These are called Amanita muscaria, and in the wild, they're commonly found under pine trees, just like the red and white presents underneath a Christmas tree. For over a millennia, the indigenous people of Siberia would collect these magic mushrooms. These people were called shamans and were older, bearded men who wore the colors red and white to honor the mushroom. Each year, the shamans would pick the mushrooms and put them into a big sack. To reduce their toxicity, the shamans would hang them to dry on tree tree branches. Or they would dry them out by hanging them in a sock above the fireplace. During the winter solstice, the shamans would go house to house delivering their gifts. The doorways were covered in snow, so the shaman would go to the roof and drop the mushrooms down the smoke hole. Reindeers were common in the Siberian Arctic, and they also enjoyed eating these little magic mushrooms. Except they weren't toxic to the reindeers, so the Siberians would drink their pee. The Siberians who ingested these mushrooms may have hallucinated that the reindeer were actually flying. We can't forget about Rudolph, who led the rest of the reindeers with his red nose. This represents the mushroom Amanita Muscaria leading the psychedelic journey. And all those little elves were the spirits the shaman encountered during his mushroom trip. Pretty big coincidence. Merry Christmas!
So, is that true? I have no idea. But I thought it was kind of cool. And, like I said, PPP bang. I know Siberia is not necessarily in your neck of the woods, but I am wondering if you know anything about that. Because it is, I mean, reindeers do happen to be in the Finland area as well. I wasn't sure if the mushrooms were as well, but yeah, take that for what it's worth. I have no idea. No idea if it's true or not. It's a TikTok video. So, come on, y'all. I don't have her footnotes. I don't have her proof. I have no clue. But I thought it was kind of neat. A little bit of a coincidence. And so it made me giggle. Hee hee hee. And exactly, sounds like Santa has some secrets. Exactly. And as it turns out though, mushrooms hold a lot of secrets. In fact, going back to the mushrooms, the mushroom topic. So we spent a lot of time a couple weeks ago talking about mushrooms, and one of the mushrooms that I bragged about feeling safe to harvest and to eat was a morel. That's one of the only mushrooms in the world that I'm like, yep, I can see it. I know what it looks like. I can pick the morel. I can cook the morel. And I can safely eat the morel, right? Because I know what a morel looks like. And morels are safe to eat, right? Right? No, not at all. Morels are poisonous, y'all. Seriously. People eat them. And some of them are poisonous. In fact, in the last week or so, there was a restaurant in Montana where 51 people got sick from eating morels. 2 of them have died. Now, yes, Darlene, the false morels aren't good. So, here, let's go back. Wait, where did it go? There we go. So that's a white morel. That one's good. Here we go. Whoop. No, there we go. False morel. The false morel is not a morel. It is poisonous. You're going to be problematic. But the white morel, the black morel are very edible-ish, sort of. But as it turns out, they are just now finding out that morels, when eaten raw, are poisonous. Morels have this thing in them called hydrazine, which is a chemical found in pesticides and rocket fuel. And in order to safely consume a morel, experts are now recommending boiling morels for 10 to 30 minutes prior to consumption. And so, and that will neutralize the hydrazine, hydrazine. And, but the thing is this is new news to chefs. Not everybody knows that about morels. And so, the place in Montana where 51 people recently got sick in the last couple weeks, first off, I've got a couple different problems with this whole scenario. The restaurant in Montana. Okay, Montana, not a state that touches salt water at all. They had a sushi place, and it was at the sushi place that the people got sick from eating the Morels. First off, who goes to Montana to eat at a sushi place? But most importantly, and I cannot emphasize this enough, who eats at a place in Montana called Dave's Sushi? In Montana. Yeah, Dave's Sushi in Montana is where the 51 people got sick. Apparently Dave's Sushi in Montana is kind of a fancy place. To me, Dave's Sushi, you've got to be kidding me. I wouldn't eat there even if it was on the waterfront of wherever, but okay. Sorry, Dave. I'm not taking your sushi very seriously, Dave. But Dave's Sushi had a salad that had Morels and the Morels were cooked by a boiling broth poured over them before they were put on the salad. But they were just cooked by a boiling flavored broth running over them. So that's not really a cook at all. I mean, if anything, it's like a blanch. And so, yes, Wolfie Pack, we are talking about morel mushrooms. Wolfie Pack Gaming, aloha, good to see you. Yes, we're talking about morel mushrooms because just recently 51 people got sick from eating morel mushrooms, and I'm disparaging Dave's Sushi because it's A, in Montana, and B, it's called Dave's Sushi. But apparently those chefs at Dave's Sushi are like legit chefs, and they were horrified to know that they did what they did because they literally were ignorant. They had no idea. It is not common knowledge, but Morels do have the potential to be poisonous if you do not cook them properly. And check this out, you guys. So, from 1985 to the year 2006, there was 1,641 mushroom poisonings in the United States. And of that, 129 of them were directly blamed on Morels, which means 8% of mushroom poisonings in the United States are coming from a mushroom that the public recognizes as safe to eat. And so, I was gobsmacked to hear this because, like I said, my mushroom place, or my mushroom stream, the only mushroom I felt confident harvesting on my own and eating on my own was a morel. And now I'm like, oh my God, dude, that was, so my point is, you guys, even though I made it sound like, if you know what a morel looks like, go ahead and eat it. Dude. Don't. Oh my God, dude. Cook it right, cook it good, cook it long, cook it hard. Yeah, so even when you think, my point here is, even when you think you know if a mushroom is safe, apparently you don't, because there's so little known about mushrooms that a mushroom, like I said, the morel mushrooms, chefs are now learning that there's a potential for poison. Wolfie Pack, okay, I'm gonna go back to, here we go. So that's a real morel. That's a black morel. And then we'll get there. I've got a couple different pictures. So I will, and that's a white morel, right? And then, oh, come on, picture. Get there, picture. Here we go. The false morel, that one that's all red and not looking the same, that is totally poisonous. So the morels kind of do have a poisonous twin. But as it turns out, no, morels themselves have, when they're raw, the real ones, the ones that you're quote unquote allowed to eat, even those have a chemical in them that's called hydrazine. You find this chemical in pesticides and rocket fuel, and you don't know how much hydrazine is in an individual mushroom. There's really no way to tell. So one of the mushrooms that you pick might have none of it or a little bit, that doesn't matter. And then the one right next to it might have a higher dose of it. And so in order to neutralize the hydrazine, doctors and the CDC are now recommending you boil morel mushrooms for 10 to 30 minutes before you eat them. Whereas people have been known to, just give them a light saute, a light fry, even eating them raw. And eating them raw is the most risky way to eat the morels. I've only ever eaten morels pan fried, and not even close to pan fried for 10 minutes, like a light saute. Super delicious. I never got sick, but apparently the way I prepared them absolutely could have gotten me sick. And so as delicious as morels are, and they are, I mean, this pains me to tell you guys this, really, but at the same time, like, this literally is kind of like brand new breaking news. Like I said, the chef at Dave's Sushi, Dave, you really, really should have done more with your name. I don't trust anybody. Dave's Sushi? Unless you're Dave Yokohama or something, I just don't know if I'm gonna... I just don't know. But the chefs there, who apparently are good chefs, even they didn't know about the protocol. And so, exactly, Piccola T. So the morale of the story is cook your morels very well. That is exactly it. And so I figured I'd tell everybody this. And so I decided today we'd have a little bit of a mushroom revisit. Because we had two little mushroom topics, the Santa mushrooms, and then, of course, the poisonous morels, as it were. And so, and yes, PP Bang, they do look pretty gnarly, without a doubt. But that's one of the reasons why the morel is so easy to recognize, is because it looks so flippin' gnarly. And let's see here, Pinnell, I read that tree mushrooms are safe. Was a huge one in a tree at one place you lived. You felt tempted to eat it. I know enough to know that I just don't believe anything that's all of blah, blah, blah are safe. Like, I just don't know. But you are right. I have seen a lot of people harvest tree fungus, and they are, the ones that I've seen are edible. But I don't know if I would trust every tree mushroom is safe, you know? But there's just so little known about mushrooms. Mushrooms are a whole... no pun intended, but like a whole underworld that we're still learning about. And exactly, Wolfie Pack Gaming, wild mushrooms make you nervous because it requires a lot of skill and knowledge. Precisely, which was my point with the previous mushroom stream. It was just like, here's how you tell some things apart. Here's poisonous, here's not. But whatever you do, don't take this little live stream as a lesson in how to ID them, because even though someone like me who's been mushroom hunting many, many times, with knowledgeable people, I still don't feel comfortable identifying safe ones versus unsafe ones, with the exception, as I said, the morels. And as it turns out, morels aren't even always so safe to flip and flurp and eat. And Piccola Tea. Funny you should say this. So, first off, PPP Bang, you're getting tired, gonna head to bed, no problem. Super stoked that you could participate today, and super stoked you could be here. But check this out. Let's see here. Piccola Tea and everyone, basically. So the mushrooms that Dave's Sushi, God, I hate that name. The mushrooms that Dave's Sushi served were farm-grown mushrooms. In fact, restaurants in theory aren't allowed to sell mushrooms that are wild harvested. And if they do sell mushrooms that are wild harvested, they have to be certified by a state certified mycologist that they are safe to eat. For the most part, any restaurant that is going to be serving you chanterelles, morels, shiitakes, oyster, enoki, blah, 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 any kind of mushroom, they're going to be farm-raised mushrooms. Because that you can farm-raise morels. So these poisonous morels that Dave's Sushi served it was from a legitimate source. It wasn't like it was some schmo who's like, oh, I think these are morels, and he went and dug them up in the woods, right? And so, yeah. So even the farm-raised ones are a potential risk. And Darlene, not all tree mushrooms are safe, though. Okay, there's a guy up north. Wait, hold on. There's a guy up north that Rick's brother knows that says you can't say cut and dry always what are good ones to eat. And he's an experienced mushroom guy. Right, yeah, exactly. I feel like there's so many ifs, ands, or buts. And as it turns out, this whole morel poisoning thing is only reinforcing all of our hesitation because truly, as the chef at Dave's Sushi was saying, they had no idea about the proper protocol to cook the mushroom. This proper protocol is now just being discovered. Hey, DJ Smook, so good to see you. Yes, we're talking about mushrooms that you probably shouldn't eat, and mushrooms that you definitely shouldn't eat, and mushrooms that you thought you could eat, but maybe you shouldn't. Which those are the morels. Morels apparently might be poisonous. Sometimes you just never know. So in order to make sure they're not, you need to cook them. And now you're all caught up on that. All right, so let's see here. We've only got a couple minutes left, and boy, oh boy, you guys, I haven't even talked about everything there was to talk about. But mushroom chicken pasta for the win sounds delicious. And Terry in Scotland, Dave's Sushi is the equivalent of Slim's French cuisine. That's exactly it. And Penel, by the way, I meant to talk about this when you posted this many minutes ago. You are right. I believe you said Toronto is not on any salt water, and they've got great sushi places. Honey Bunches, Toronto is a legit city that is not. There's more people in Toronto than the entire state of Montana. I trust a sushi place in Toronto 1,000,000 times more than I would trust a sushi place in Montana. You are correct. You don't have to be near the ocean to be a good sushi place. I understand that. I was being a bit facetious. On the other hand, anyone who goes to Montana with sushi on their mind is barking up the wrong tree. Give me a good steak if I'm in Montana. Throw down with the bacon. Give me some cheese. Maybe even some flippin' peppers. From Colorado or Wyoming or whatever. But sushi from Dave? No can like that. No can like that. All right, you guys. So, let's see here. I wanted to show you something, and I think we've got time for it. And if we don't, well, we're going to make time for it. Okay. I have not seen this show yet. You have to pay for it, which kind of bums me out. I'm on the verge of thinking about paying for it, though, because I am like that. But have you heard about the new television show that was filmed on Maui? And it's a television show that you can only get streaming. It's called Moku Moku, I think. And here is the trailer for Moku Moku, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. And to me, it seems like it's going to be super funny, and I'm 99% sure I'm going to throw down the money for this, but you guys tell me if I should.
Oh, these are my grandfather's? Oh. your grandfather's jeans.
Oh, don't say it.
Get his chaps.
Ma, why you never tell me that grandpa was in Paniolo?
Your grandfather was a lot of things. None of them was good.
I know.
Like one of the village people. Now, hurry up.
That guy Ikaika, he's state champ. Won like 6 roping tournaments.
Him? Then my grandfather was better.
You think you're Paniolo?
Jim's grandfather was a legend.
Oh. You've been watching too much TV, boy.
I can't do this. I'm gonna lose and share my grandfather's name.
Oh, bruh. You look like one.
Rodeo prostitute.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, go first.
Okay, so I don't know if it's a Hollywood production, Michi Mama, but my best guess is no. I know that it is locally filmed, and because it is streaming only on the 808moku.com website, you have to pay to get access to the streaming only via that website. I'm going out on a limb to guess that this is a very small production, a very local production. I have no idea who is actually behind it, but if Hollywood is behind it, it's definitely like independent Hollywood. So I feel like it's a local thing, but like Michi Mama says, it does appear, like you say, Michi Mama, it does appear to be really good production. So, I mean, clearly, whoever's producing it has got the know-it-all, you know, it's got the equipment, the knowledge, etc. But I'm getting the impression that this is a super local thing. And so, yeah, I haven't thrown down for the money. I haven't thrown down the money for it yet. But I'm probably going to. And it sounds like DJ Smook, you've actually seen some of the streams yet, or maybe just the first, because I think they've only got the first week released. Have you seen it? Is it good? I mean, I feel like it's worth the money just because I would like to support more of this kind of thing, if that makes sense. And by the way, speaking of worth the money, I haven't gotten it yet, but I've got some plans to get Reservation Dogs on DVD. And if and when that ends up happening, we will be watching Reservation Dogs on Statterbox at the cinema at some point. So that's not going to be for many months from now. I have a couple different things that I have to spend my money on before I spend my money on that. The first thing that I want to be spending some money on, and you guys are definitely helping, level flippin' 5 hype train last stream. I'm going to be getting some video editing software. I'm actually, for the first time in my life, going to pay money for some video editing software. And so once I pay the money for the video editing software, then I will be spending money on things like Reservation Dogs. But this particular Moku Moku stream is very cheap. I think it's like $15-16 for a couple episodes. So that I'll be getting before even before the software, I'm sure. And so exactly, Cool T, support the small businesses first, always. And so Panel, oh cool, you never saw Reservation Dogs yet? It is, if you've spent any time on this stream, you know how I feel about this TV show. It is an amazing TV show, and not only is it an amazing TV show, TV Guide actually determined that the television episode of the year was the Dear Lady episode of Reservation Dogs. And Reservation Dogs, Dear Lady episode, I've already talked about it. on this stream, but it is probably the most powerful half hour of television you will ever watch in your life. And TV Guide determined that that was the best TV show of the entire year for the year 2023. And not only that, TV Guide determined that Reservation Dogs was one of the best television shows for the year 2023. There was a tie. The TV critics couldn't really figure out amongst themselves which one was better. Succession was the other one that was chosen as the best TV show of the year, but Succession and Reservation Dogs were the two best television series of the year 2023. And if you guys have Hulu in the United States, I don't know if Hulu in Canada is showing it, Penel, so, but if you have Hulu and you're in the United States, or if you have a VPN that can make you look like you're in the United States, definitely watch Reservation Dogs. And Terry in Scotland, you've patterned your life on TV Guide's teachings. That is funny, but I'll tell you right now, in the words of wisdom from the grandpa from The Lost Boys, if you read the TV Guide, you don't need a TV. Darlene, you have Hulu, then you should be able to see Reservation Dogs in all 3 of its seasons. And honestly, Reservation Dogs, there's so many layers going on that you can watch it more than once, because you're going to catch stuff the second time that you didn't catch the first time. And sometimes the reason why you didn't catch it the first time is because you didn't know there was anything to catch. But then 3 episodes later, they made a reference to whatever. And then when you watch it again, you're like, oh. So, beautiful, beautiful show. And we are 3 minutes past the bottom of the hour. Puzzy isn't here to give us a 2-minute warning. So, here I am just going over time. So, here we have it. In Rhapsing It Upsetting, we're going to Bohemian Rhapsody this Saturday. That is what Statterbox at the Cinema will be showing. Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, or rather, the movie about Queen. So, there we go. Saturday, Statterbox at the Cinema, Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie about Queen. And then we'll revisit the eye roll emote. The eye roll emote is what we're going to revisit, because I haven't decided. For those of you who came in late, here we're going to, real quick like a bunny. I want to get some emotes. I want to get an eye roll emote. Is this the eye roll emote that I want? Or is this the eye roll emote that I want? Or, if we can combo the two, somehow put these eye rolls on top of Lisa Simpson's face. So that's the idea. But we haven't decided yet. Opinions on the eye roll emote are still, the floor is still open to opinions. Alright, so formulate those opinions, come up with your arguments, come up with alternate ideas. Whatever you want to do. We'll talk to each other about it on Sunday at Chatter with Statter. But on Saturday, 6 p.m. West Coast time, Bohemian Rhapsody, y'all. Be there. I'll be there. We'll be there. And Darlene, I should just send you one video of a granddaughter. She did an eye roll. I don't know if I should use that as the emote, but for sure send me that video. For sure send me that video. Exactly, animate it. Yeah, that's like, yeah, exactly. So for sure send me that video, because I want an eye roll that's a little bit different that nobody else has. And so if we get that, but Darlene, maybe if I aminate it. What if I aminate it? Okay, I won't do anything with it, but can I still see it? Can you mail it to me? And hey, another thing that we're going to be talking about on Sunday, even if Darlene's just like, oh hell no, you weirdo, I'm not going to send you a picture of my granddaughter. Even if we're not going to do that, that's okay. Darlene already sent me plenty of pictures. We're going to have videos and pictures from both Darlene and Piccola Tea, because I was going to show you a video that I made for Piccola Tea today, but we ran out of time. And not only did we run out of time, we're over time. Whew. Hawaiian goodbye, y'all. Taken forever. All right. Have a good one. We'll see each other Saturday. Bohemian Rhapsody.